we will talk about partial fractions and I will explain it to you the most easiest way possible. So let me show you some examples right now. Also, for this vid, I won't be giving a lecture because I looked at my notes and realized that that was confusing as frick. So I will just be explaining it to you the real way, my way basically. So here it is. So here we have a simple example of what will it look like, but without the integration. This is just a simple introduction. So you're going to leave the numerator by itself for now, and we're going to split up the denominator, like how you did in, I don't know where, middle school, whatever. We are going to split it up, so this would be, how you did these two parentheses, or I don't know. So we're going to split it up, so this would be x. So we know that we have x minus 6, and we have plus 3, because if we distribute these, this would be x squared, distribute this, plus be 3x, distribute this, be negative 6x, and if we distribute this, it would be negative 6 times 3, would be negative 18. This would be x squared minus 3x minus 18. And as you can see, we literally have the exact same thing right here. So we can use this to our advantage. So we can put these two things right here. So let me just put these right here. And the next step, what you need to do is basically when you have these two things, so you have two, one, two, right? We're going to have to name them by something. So we just write it down. So this would just be, so the first denominator would be, it's kind of like we're splitting it up, but not really. So this would just be A, and this would be plus, and the second denominator would be B. So that's pretty much all you need to know what to do. So we are giving the appropriate form of the partial fraction in this term. So this is pretty much simple. You're not gonna do anything with this yet. We're going to have to leave that for the integral. But for now, this is just a simple introduction. So here we have a problem. And the first thing we got to do is just, split up the denominator. So x squared plus 4x minus 12 would be just x plus 6 minus 2. And you can do this for yourself to make sure if it's right, but yeah, this is what you got to do. And the next step would just be, we would like leave the integral out, but just put in the regular values that you have from the problem, but in split form, so we can just plug in these two values right here. And now we got to, put in the a and b because we got two denominators. So this would just be a x plus 6 plus b x minus 2. And now here's the thing that you got to remember. Now here you got to pay attention because what we're going to do is different than what we did before. So now we have this, right? We could take out the dx so because we don't need that. So now we're going to multiply these two into each values. And what I mean by that is we're basically just multiplying it here because we need to get rid of the denominator in this area. So when we multiply, we take out the denominator from this area. So when we multiply this from here, we can take out the x plus 6. So the x plus 6 will disappear. So when we're multiplying this, we can take out the x plus 6 in the a side, and we can take out the x minus 2 in the b side. So we are left with 8 equals to a times x minus 2 plus b times x plus 6. Now, what we have so far, we are going to plug in different values for x. And what I mean by that is what you see in these values, so x minus 2 and x plus 6, we're going to plug in the opposite of what this value is and these value. So the opposite of negative 2 is going to be 2, and the opposite of 6 is going to be negative 6. So our x's will be 2 and 6. And now we're going to plug them in, but separately. So what am I mean that? I'm going to show you. So we have 8 equals to a. Now we got to plug in the 2 minus 2. And still we got to plug in the 2 here. We can forget about the x equals 6 for now. And so a times 0 is just going to be 0. 2 minus 2 is 0, so just forget about that. And 2 plus 6 is going to be 8. So we have b8. So we got 8 equals to 8b. We can cancel out the 8, and b will be equal to 1. And this is important because we need to do this for the integration part. And now we have x equals to 6, or negative 6, for this part. So we got we can plug in negative 6 to the x's. So negative 6 plus 6 is just 0, take that out. And negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8, a. And a will be negative 1. So basically what we're trying to find is the a or b's, or whatever letter we're trying to find. Because when you get into more harder problems, you might have to find a, b, or c, or it could be d. So just remember to keep that in mind. It depends on what you have to do with these values. So just keep that in mind. So now we have the last part. We have a equals negative 1, b equals 1. And as you can see from the beginning problem right here, we can we can use the integral of a plus b over the two denominators we just had, and we can plug these new values for a and b to these. So let me just do it right here. So we can do the integral of, so we had negative 1 for a, we just plugged it in, plus 6, and we're going to have to split the integrals in this situation, so just like that. So the b equals 1, 1 will be equal to b, and x minus 2. And for these, we can use u substitution, so we got u equals x plus 6. The derivative of x plus 6 is going to be just 1, I believe. And we can do this u substitution for here, so u equals x minus 2. Derivative of that is just 1, so nothing really special. And our new values for these two would be just 1 over u plus 1 over u. And the integral of those two would be ln, because the integral of 1 over x is ln x, and here we have the integral of 1 over u, so it would just be ln u. So this would be ln u, put the absolute value, and ln absolute value of u plus c. And don't forget the negative from the beginning for the a value, so put negative. Plug in our u back in for what we got, so The u for this part was x plus 6, and the u for this one was x minus 2 plus c, and this is our final answer. And that's very much it, guys. All you got to do is practice, guys. This is really simple if you put in the work, so just remember that. And yeah.